Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Live Free and Drive. So, in reality, in real life time, it's been about 2.5 minutes since the outro of the last video, but it's however many days later for you. So in today's video, it's technically same day video, it's about Rob and his S60. What year is this again?
2016.
All right, the 2016 S60. So, what's gonna make this review, I guess you could call it, different than the other ones, is I don't know a damn thing about these. I looked them up real quick, but that's about it. So that's one thing I do want to mention. When we focus on cars in this channel, there's enough review channels already. We're just doing impressions of what I think. Everyone else thinks, whatever. So Rob's 2016 S60 R Design, does that technically make it a... Actually...
Yeah, so the difference is with the R Design between the regular one is the R Design has the T6 in it, which at this gen, I know it's no longer, it's a 4-cylinder, turbocharged and supercharged engine, so it's no longer the old setups for the T6s. This one's also been Polestar optimized from the Volvo dealer, so I have the Polestar tune on it. The R Design also is a slight appearance package and gives you a little more stiffer suspension, so it's a little sportier. But for the most part, it is mostly stock. The biggest change that I've done is the wheels on it. I have a exhaust done, just an axle back. I had done at loose.
And the cleanest black paint I have ever seen to this day still. Like, that is one thing I can never get over with this car, is how clean this car is. Every time, especially being a black car.
Yep.
Like, I've never seen anything, like, I've never seen this car dirtier than maybe this. That's about it. So to put it into a normal person perspective who knows nothing about Volvos and anything you just said in that sentence, how big is the engine? Liters.
It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder.
Twin charged.
Yep.
Which is one of the coolest parts about this car to me, because how many factory twin charged cars exist? Because I can't think of too many.
Yep. It's not just a turbo, and it's not a dual turbo or anything. This is a turbo and a supercharger, so that makes it pretty fun.
Can you see it at all under the hood?
Not really under the hood.
So,
unfortunately, like most cars nowadays, there's a whole bunch of plastic and hidden stuff under there that you can't really focus on.
Like, I just think that's amazing, though. It's like, I really thought you were kidding, I think, honestly, the first time you told me that. Like, back when you first saw you with this. So, little history about me and Rob. So, I mentioned in the last video, I used to run a car meet. So, the first one I ever had was, we called it Cars and Cones. It was at an ice cream place here in Plastow, New Hampshire. And Rob was the very first person that I didn't know to show up. So that's how this friendship started. That was 5 years ago now, which is amazing to think it's already been that long since I started running events.
And all those regrets. At least on my side. No,
what were you driving at the time?
At the time, I had my 2013 Focus ST that I had before this. I really enjoyed. Last, I've probably done more car cruises and meets with this Volvo than I ever did with my Focus ST. Which is surprising. Yeah, thanks Aaron for that. I've done a lot of drives on this. I've taken this down to Carlisle, Pennsylvania for import nationals. That's about an 8-hour drive. When I did it with my Focus ST, I had to stop several times just for my back. This car I made down in one shot, not even have to stop. It was, the seats are just comfortable in it. I don't know if you want to put any input.
Well, I will give some input. So, my impressions of this car so far. So, I've never driven it or anything like that. I don't know that part about it, but the overall design of it, I do really like it. So, something really interesting that I actually looked up today, because I wanted to have some knowledge of the car. Like, I know it's a Volvo S60, it's all over it. Yeah. The overall design, I do like it. So, an interesting thing to me, I didn't realize that there's only been like 3 generations of S60 the other day. I think that's amazing to think. This car's been around for 20 plus years now, and there's only been 3 different styles of this car, and each one is drastically different from the other. So something interesting I noticed about this, and didn't even think of it till like kind of looking at it right now. So the overall design of this car, I noticed, so the earlier ones are more of just your almost not run-of-the-mill 4-door sedan. It's just kind of, it's more of it's a bigger car than this, I feel like. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So, something I noticed I kind of find interesting, looking at it now especially, so I kind of noticed it when it was next to Ann's car on the trip. This car, so this style changed in 2009, I think. And I don't know how much longer they made the S40, but I think it was right around that time is when they stopped, and looking at it, it reminds me a lot of Ann's S40, like the second gen S40. So I almost feel like this car kind of took the slot of that and they ditched the S40 for that, which isn't a bad thing. It means this car is a lot more nimble and all that. So it does look very good though, and like I said, you've definitely upkept it very nicely. So the inside of this thing looks so comfortable. Like, I'm actually gonna just sit right there. Oh, that is nice. That is really nice. Like, even the headrest is just a pillow. So you're not wrong about the comfort. The inside of this thing is so nice. And what I like too, the dash especially, I notice it. So some of the older Volvos I've noticed they don't age that great. Like, they don't look bad, but like the aging process, it just doesn't hold up well. Yeah. It becomes really rattly. This looks a lot better put together to me, is what I would say. So, well, we're gonna start off with Umbreon here. Anyone else remember him? What's with Umbreon?
He's the mascot for the car. I like to have a little mascot, and for this car, I decided Umbreon was the best choice.
Well, I just reached for a clutch pedal. I'm not even kidding about that. I just fully did one of those stomps. All right, we'll put it in drive and get going. So right off the bat, it's amazing. Like, there actually does feel like there's some light bolstering in these seats, which is the level I feel like it should be. Like, I can barely feel it, but it's there. Which, like, even like my mom, like, I actually do have a car I can somewhat compare this with. My mom has a 2018 E-Class, and honestly, I already like this car more. To tell you the truth, just the 10 seconds I've sat in it, I like it more.
I do the same path you just did?
Yeah. Yes, we can do that. Let's
turn off the
shut off the auto start stuff. God, I hate that.
Over towards you.
Yeah, why don't we throw it in manual mode?
Oh, you're not in manual yet.
Well, we're in sport. We'll start in sport. I'm pulling out in front of this Civic because screw him. Okay. Not bad. I just shifted out of habit, but
that's fine.
Not bad. I wasn't even. We can play with the paddles too. We're cultured people here. We know how to drive cars.
You can do paddles, or the nice thing about this car is the shifter down here is you can pull that back to is down and push up is upshift.
I do like that. It's one of those things. So this is a good time for the automatic versus manual debate. Oh my God, people are taking a picture of my car over there. Like, there's literally a whole group. We just drove past where my car's parked, and a whole group of people were outside taking pictures of it. That goes back to making people happy with my car, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, so my biggest thing with the whole manual versus auto debate, that's a good topic to discuss, is if you're gonna give me an auto, I don't hate autos, but if you're gonna give me one, not even give me the choice, at least give me a good one. And I actually already really like how this one feels. Like, these paddles don't feel like they need 20 days to decide, although that shift was a little delayed, but granted, I did let off as I was in the middle of shifting, so that could have been part of the reason. Oh no, this does feel nice. It does a little floaty on the steering, but you are stock height and everything too. Yeah. Granted, does it have adjustable steering anyway, or?
Yep, I have it adjusted. It's an electronic steering, so I have the high force on it to make it a little stiffer because I didn't like the soft steering. I was gonna say, yeah, it does feel somewhat stiffer. It does feel a lot harder to turn than, say, like, honestly, the Mustang's a little bit quicker on it, but it does feel tighter in here. So it goes. I love that thing, by the way. That thing's so cool. Yeah, you just passed
There's an old 90s cop car that actually, my friend who I mentioned that does windows actually did a windshield in that. It went the wrong way down that one way in his van after.
And the nice thing on
there we go. So yeah, that's exactly what it was. I just I shifted on throttle that time, and it's actually pretty quick and immediate, which that's what I like in paddles. Like, I don't want to have to sit there and give it time to think about what I'm doing. If I press it, I want it to do what I want. I want it to be, if it's supposedly quicker than a manual, I want it to be quicker than a manual.
The nice thing that with this particular setup is it does shift up for you if you're at red line and it knows it needs to shift. It will
like, hey, stupid, do something here.
And it will downshift for you.
I do and I don't like that though, because I mean, granted, that's not bad, but at the same time, there are times it's like, all right, can you let me have control?
It waits till the last second to do the upshift.
All right, so
downshift.
that's good. Like I'm stopping right now. We're still okay. Like I just fully stopped in second, and then it shifted in the first. Like that's okay with me. All right, I'm gonna give it some. That's awesome. It's so tame too. It's one of those things you look down and you're like, oh my god, I'm doing that.
It's been one of the most interesting things going to this car. I feel like I actually drive this more aggressively than I ever drove my Focus ST, just because this car is just, to me, feels smoother and more fun.
Yeah, I agree with that actually. So actually, okay, so you can actually focus the camera on you for this part. So why don't we talk? So you've had the ST, and you mentioned the sub. What other cars have you had that have led up to this?
So I started with a 94 Mazda B3000 pickup, which Aaron remembers.
Because he put a fucking
Because I had a hard top and I wanted a sport truck, so I put a wing on it because I was in high school. And then from there I went to a 87 Buick Riviera, which I really enjoyed a ton. That was the first car I ever put in a show. And I went to like an older car show around here. And then from there I had a 09 Ford Focus that I commuted in. Then from that Ford Focus, I had my Focus ST, and I had a Project Saab 9000 for a hot minute. The 9000 was a lot of fun, but unfortunately, when it was time to get rid of it, one of my buddies was behind me as I was driving into the guy who was buying it. Every time I shifted, smoke poured out. Not the exhaust, out of the bottom of the engine. So I beat that car a little bit. That car, for example, that 9000, I think one of the best things I had with that was I was at the House of Blues in Boston. The car actually had the parking brake stuck on. I couldn't get it released. So I said, oh well, and I drove across the bridge, like out of Boston, across the Zengen Bridge on it, and all of a sudden on the highway it finally warmed up enough that it released, and me and my girlfriend just like slammed back because the car's like, okay, full speed ahead,
away.
But yeah, those are the cars I had leading up to this one. When I was looking at cars, I was really looking to try and get a manual, but driving this car, it was the only car that once I got in it and gave it some gas, that I actually started smiling when I was driving.
Right, I'm going. little DSG remnants right there, sound out the back.
It gets the little farts occasionally.
I am very impressed with this trans actually. It actually does. If you had told me this was a dual clutch, I would have believed you. But this actually does shift just as fast.
And the new automatic transmissions in general are a lot better.
Yes and no. There are still some floaty ones, but this is definitely not one of them. This is definitely well done.
Yeah, that's been the nice thing for me, because that was my biggest fear going to auto. The only auto that I had driven that I ever found fun before this was really my dad used to have a 2003 Acura 3.2 CL. So I had that little sport shifter in there, and that was fun because I mean it had like the little bit of VTEC in it. But it was like, that was a fun auto, and I was like, I want to, if I get an auto, I want to have a fun one. My 09 Focus was a regular Ford automatic transmission, and it wasn't like the life of the party, but it got me from point A to point B, which is what I needed at the time. But I was like, I'm going for my ST, I want to at least have something I can still have fun with, because I enjoy driving.
Right.
So.
Which I can see that in this too. So that's so far my biggest thing with it. It's definitely not as rowdy as the Mustang by any means.
Oh,
but it's definitely a lot more refined. Here, I'm actually I'm gonna do like second gear roll into it just. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. It's definitely a lot more refined. Like I know you have mentioned to me before, there are times that you do feel a little bored with it. Is that true?
Occasionally I wish especially when we're on cruises, I feel like I wish I made a little more noise and it was sound a little more aggressive, because when you have, like you and your Mustang flying by me, we have Chris and his little angry fire chicken flying by me.
There's an angry fire chicken.
Like, we had like all those cars going by. Or we had the Volvo wagon that was pretty much straight pipe.
Right.
I mean, having all those, sometimes I wish I had a little more, but then, especially when I'm just cruising and stuff, I'm enjoying it. I'm like, you know, this is nice because I can sit here, I can listen to my audiobook, I can do whatever I feel like, and just relax.
It's a great daily. I could definitely see myself daily driving a car like this. It definitely falls in the market. To pick some cars to compare it to, from a comfort standpoint, definitely Mercedes, like a Lincoln, like all that. Like this is a really comfortable place to be. It really is. And then performance standpoint, definitely reminiscent to like GTI, stuff like that, with a dual clutch or something like that, like 8.4. Like good, it's a good rival to that. With this gearbox, like it actually honestly isn't far off of. I've driven an A3 with, right, it was in like an 08, 09 A3 with DSG with a transmission tune. So early DSG, but I was actually still very impressed with how well it handled. And this really doesn't feel that far off it. Like I'm actually pleasantly surprised that a normal auto like this, although I can say, yeah, but the steering, I just turned in it actually almost like, it's tight, but honestly, for a car like this, it's very surprising how tight it feels. Like that was almost like felt like driving something without power steering, was cutting out for a second turning in. Have you ever gotten that feel?
Yeah, that's why I like. That's why I said to the higher one, because I really wanted a stiffer feeling steering.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely. I felt it like crazy there. Like that honestly felt like reminiscent of piloting like a Civic with no power steering for a second. Now, I usually don't like talking about prices, but actually it's a good idea, I think, in this one, because how much was this car new?
So, this one
did you get it new or used?
So I bought this used.
Okay, so what did you buy it for used and what year?
So I bought it in 2017 at $30,000.
Okay.
Brand new, the sticker on it was, I believe, $49, because the R Design Platinum, fully loaded.
Did you have a bit of a rough start with the paint situation?
Yeah, so where we're sitting on the lot, it had a lot of bird poop on it, and it stained the paint. So I ended up having to get the paint corrected to try and fix that, which turned out great because this car, like I said, has been fantastic. I've had the paint corrected now twice, just because I have a ceramic coat on it. I just wanted to touch up some of the swirls and some of the stuff, because it's a black car, it shows everything, and this car is a mirror. It just, I can't get away with anything on this car, which is nice, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of owning a black car. That being said, this is my third black car. My Riviera was black, my 09 Focus is black, and then of course this car.
It does look amazing, it really does.
Yeah, it's
like you've definitely upkept it outstandingly. It's ceramic too, right?
Yep, I have a ceramic coat on from one of the detailers out here.
Now, as far as, so we're gonna go off that $30,000 price tag. That's actually, I'd say it's a good buy, just for the fact that it's, think about it, like you could get that's just barely over what a new Corolla costs. It's probably a little more than a GTI, but I mean, I'd rather be in like, I'd honestly rather, as of now, I'd rather be in this than like a Jetta or a GTI, honestly. It's just a better feeling car. Just feels like it's put together even. I mean, yeah, it's put together pretty good. Like this, it's aged well. As far as aging, it's immaculate in here. Like, you could tell me this car was new and I'd believe that level. So it definitely has held its own pretty well. I don't know what the long-term maintenance is on it, but honestly, I'm one of those people anyway who likes to who would rather just experience it for myself, because when I had my Sport Track, I was told how unreliable those can be over time, and I had nothing. At most, my drive shaft went, and even it wasn't like a violent end, it was just making noise. And I got that truck to 191K, so that's always kind of been my look on, just try it and see how it goes, because every car is different. There's bad ones, there's good ones. Some of the bad ones are good, some of the good ones suck, you never know.
And it all depends on how you drive it. And sometimes if you baby engines, especially a lot of these 4-cylinders with turbos, if you baby them, they don't last as long. I mean, I know people that had a Focus ST and they go through an engine in like 10,000 miles. I had my Focus ST, I got to 110,000 miles and it was still going fine. I actually see it constantly because the owner who bought it after me works at a place up by my house, so I end up seeing it probably like once a week, which is fantastic. It's like seeing your ex-girlfriend all the time. But it's been really good. I said I've done a lot more cruises with this car than I ever did the ST, just because I find this car fun to drive and it doesn't bother my back or anything.
Man, that power steering honestly sneaks up on you if you're not ready for it.
See, I'm just used to it now. Whenever I go, if it gets reset or something, I'm like, I can't drive the car, because it's just like, what the heck? What's going on with my steering? Are the wheels broken? What's going on? So.
Oh no, I like it though. Not bad.
Right.
Thanks for letting me drive. It's good.
No problem.
It's really not too bad at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a slight change from your Mustang.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, the Mustang's one of those cars too. Like, it just drives unlike anything else too. So like, this definitely falls into the 4-cylinder category, but like, it's different in the sense it's twin charged.
Oh yeah.
Like that, I still think that's the coolest. That's this car's party trick. It really is.
Now here's one thing I'll ask you.
Yes.
With it being twin charge, did you feel like you were having a boost lag or anything?
No.
In your floor line?
No.
That's the benefit to this being the twin charge, because it just keeps you going.
Oh yeah, no, this thing just away. Yeah. I just hit the wipers, but.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing with the twin charge that they did in here, because it really gets rid of that like boost lag. It keeps a nice power curve going up, and it keeps you going.
Right.
Which has been fantastic, especially when I'm following that Mustang, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm gonna see you later, and I'm like, oh crap, I need to get going. So.
Like, I mean, Christ, I mean, think about it. It's like 300 horsepower. Like, in a 4-cylinder car, that's more than a new WRX. That's more than a lot of GTIs, I'd imagine. And then, what else is another mainstream car that this definitely makes more power than? Better than a Civic Si.
Yeah.
For power wise, not that there's anything really wrong with those 3 cars. I have comments to make, pros and cons about each of those.
Those are also lighter than me by a little bit.
Exactly. Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot more tech and electronics,
yeah.
And it's in size that makes it heavier.
Mm.
It's an S60, but like I said, it reminds me. It looks like they went a lot. Actually, if you even focus right here, like if you were to put a picture of an S40 cluster down here, right here. It's very similar in shape, which is kind of funny to me too, because this style came out long after the S40 generation did. The second gen. That's probably, we're talking like 4 or 5 years later, and it looks like an updated version of an S40 in here. That's really what I think it is. I think they went with this style so they could phase out the S40.
Yeah, because they also had the S80 for a while.
That's true, yeah.
So they have had many models they phased out.
It's one of those things too, like, it's sad to say, it's like Volvo just really, it isn't as much of a cult classic car as it is. Like, I feel like after it lost the boxy shape they had, it really, that's when they, with the exception of like the S60 R and like the V70 R, they really didn't have as much of a following after. That's when people started going to do different things. I mean, this goes to show, this car, they still can make a fun vehicle. They really can. Granted, it's not a brand new one, but I mean, at least in this period of time, they were still making something that's fun to drive.
Oh yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, I'm gonna say that wraps it up for this video. So we'll see you in the next one. And hey, if you want us to do a video in your car too, by all means. We're northern Mass, southern New Hampshire area, so let us know. All in all, we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.